Hello YouTube, Sign here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we are doing another Kaiju number 8 chapter review. Today we're going to be reviewing chapter 52. Now, there's a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. First, the news segment. So there's two pieces of news here. The first piece of news is that the first English volume has officially released now. It has come out on Tuesday, December 7th. And so far, the reception for it seems to be really, really good, which is great. I'm really happy about that. I think it's really awesome. And volume 2 is already up for pre-order on Amazon. I think it comes out sometime in April. I think April 9th was what I saw. I'm not exactly sure if that's exactly correct, but it is coming soon in the next couple months here. So I'll pre-order that if you want. Although I definitely recommend you wait it out and just go to Barnes & Noble's a few weeks early and start asking about it. And usually they have it at least 1 week early. Sometimes they have it up to 2 weeks early. So do check that out and see if they do have it. But yeah, and the second piece of news here is that Japanese Volume 5 is coming out soon. I haven't seen it in stores yet, so I don't think that it's out yet. Like, I mean, Kinokuniya, they carry a lot of Japanese books. I haven't seen it there yet, but I think it's coming out soon. And recently, the mangaka tweeted something out that referenced Volume 6, so I think Volume 6 is already in the works. Kind of makes sense. I'm not really sure how they're splitting up the volumes, because I guess there's 52 chapters right now. Each volume usually has about 8 chapters. So up to the end of the 5th one, you're up to 40. So yeah, I guess they definitely have enough material for volume 6 already. So they're probably waiting it out a little bit until they have enough for volume 7 as well before starting to print it. So I guess that kind of makes sense, but it's pretty exciting. France and Italy have also been publishing Kaiju number 8 recently, and I think it's doing really well, so that's really, really good. Hopefully we get an anime for this soon. So yeah, now let's get into the recap section. And this covers chapter 51. If you want a full review, please do check it out somewhere up there. I can't remember what site it's on, but I do have it on the channel, so just go check it out over there. And yeah, so chapter 51 mostly deals with Mystery Sao and number 9 duking it out, kind of fighting over who's going to live and who's going to die. And Mystery Sao basically has this kind of thing in his head that he knows that he's not going to live through this situation, but he wants to do the best he can in order to kill number 9 so that his daughter Kikoru doesn't have to deal with it in the future, so that he can kind of like atone for the fact that he didn't really treat her that well growing up after his wife died. So I think that's a pretty meaningful kind of heroic act. I think that maybe Kikoru might like her dad being alive a little bit more than him killing number 9, but I think that it is still kind of a very parental, sacrificial thing to do. So I definitely understand where Mr. Shinomiya is coming from, and I definitely understand the kind of storytelling aspect of why this would be important and meaningful to do. So I really appreciate it. I think it's really well done. And he's duking out with number 9, and there comes a moment where number 9 seems to be beaten, and at the end of the chapter, Mr. Shinomiya is like standing over the carcass of number 9, but we're not really sure if it's alive or dead, or if he's alive or dead, so it's pretty interesting how it ended, and that's basically all there is for the recap. So let's get into the review discussion section here. Chapter 52, 21 pages, pretty standard par for the course for this manga. I haven't really noticed a dip in page count, which is really good. Sometimes mangaka get kind of like very bogged down and they have to start reducing the amount of pages in order to maintain their quality, and that doesn't seem to be the case right now. So hopefully this maintains itself and the manga has enough rest between what's called publications for them to be safe and healthy, but we'll see. So it starts with a flashback to Narumi and Mystery Sao sitting in his office, in Mystery Sao's office. And Mystery Sao is kind of like in his old man mode. He has little glasses resting on the bottom of his face. He's looking at some papers, and Narumi's standing in front of him. And he's talking to Narumi about how he's gonna, build up this strong division, and then he's gonna retire so that the next generation can take over, right? And Narumi's kind of like, just listening to him, and he's kind of having that like your next moment right now, where the passing of the torch basically. And I think it's pretty interesting, and it sets up a really meaningful kind of resolve for Narumi later on in the chapter. So I like that. But let's get into the proper kind of element here. Past that like initial flashback, we get back to the current timeline where Narumi and Kafka have just managed to get to Mr. Shinomiya, Mr. Isao, and they're kind of happy to see him alive and over this carcass. But as soon as they're reaching out to him, and Narumi is almost to him, because I guess Narumi sees him as this kind of like parental figure because he's like his leader. Kafka notices that, you know, something's wrong, that this is not Mr. Shinomiya, and he tries to yell it out, but Mr. Shinomiya basically transforms into a kaiju and points at Narumi and just kind of like shoots him, and there's a very big explosion, of course, and yeah, I don't know, it was really, really badass. He transformed, he shoots Narumi, and it's so powerful. It's like a really crazy power. I'm not exactly sure what this power boost comes from. I guess it's from absorbing either Mr. Shinomiya's willpower and the numbers weapon that he had, or just the numbers weapon. I'm not exactly sure. It doesn't really kind of give us any hints there, but it's super powerful. The explosion is like badass, and now Kaiju number 9 is basically super powered, and he has this kind of draconic visage. It kind of reminds me of number 10, the way he looked, but like with, you know, number 9's mushroom head. So that's pretty interesting. And Narumi tries to contact Mr. Shinomiya through his earpiece. He's like, "Hey, Mr. Shinomiya, are you there? Where are you?" You know, kind of like asking for contact. And number 9 says he fused with Mr. Shinomiya. He killed him and then fused with him. And he pulls out his earpiece and kind of like crushes it or something like that. And it's crazy. It's really, you know, bizarre how threatening number 9 is, even though he's kind of like a lanky, kind of like dumb bad guy character. But now he's super powered up, and he's super badass. I really like it. And Kikoru shows up, and she tries to attack number 9 from above, and she's like, you know, who would believe that lie that, you know, Mr. Shinomiya died? And then number 9 kind of looks at Kikoru and shows her half of his face, and it's like his like Mr. Shinomiya's face. So I think that's really badass. I think he kind of fused with Mr. Shinomiya the way the Kaiju and Kafka fused. So that's why they're like one or the other, or like both at the same time. So I think that's pretty interesting. It might mean that, you know, in order for Kaiju to unlock their full power, they have to be fused with a human, which might be an interesting kind of reason why Kaiju are attacking Earth, which is, you know, pretty interesting. It's a pretty cool theory there. But yeah, Kikoru messes up. She sees her father's face next to the Kaiju. She kind of like has a moment of like, oh God, what's going on? And Kafka tells her to look away, and then Narumi goes in hard, and he tries to activate his numbers on his eye, and, you know, his like Renegon thing. And you know, he remembers Mr. Isao as he goes to try to kill number 9. But number 9's like, you know what, never mind, I don't want to fight right now, I gotta dip, because, you know, there's repercussions to absorbing something, and I don't really have the time to deal with that while I try to fight you, so I'm just gonna dip. And he grows some wings out of his back, and and he tries to fly away, right? But not Mr. Isao, Narumi manages to kind of stake him with his giant bayonet, right? Bayonetta is a different character, bayonet. And Narumi doesn't want to let him go, and Kafka shows up, grabs his shoulder, and powers up his punch, and he's gonna go punch him. And you know, big explosion there when that happens. But it's a killer action shot. But at the end of it, Narumi is on top of his shoulder with his bayonet right here, and Kafka is punching him. But number 9 managed to hold Kafka's arm back, right? And number 9's arm is called all destroyed. You only see bones and a bit of like, you know, discarded flesh on top of it. So very badass action scene. Very interesting kind of way to end the chapter, and I'm really excited to see what happens next. I think this is a very action-packed chapter. I thought it was really, really good. Now, that's basically it. In terms of theories, I don't really have one, but that idea that I had about how maybe Kaiju need to fuse with a human in order to achieve their full power is an interesting concept, and it might not be so bad if that's what Matsumoto decides to do, because I think that's a pretty meaningful one, right? Like, it's like this parasitic relationship between, you know, Kaiju and human, but might be beneficial for both of them if Kafka is any kind of like what's it called? If Kafka is like an example of that, right? Kafka is stronger because he's a kaiju, right? So it might be a beneficial thing to do. However, kaiju seem to be very greedy, right? And so they can't interact with people in a way that is meaningful. So I think it's really interesting how that works. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.